Welcome to all SalesShakers out there listening to us today. We have a great session prepared for you with Hugo Soares, and we're going to introduce Hugo Soares properly in a minute. Thank you so much, Hugo, for being here with us, for talking with us. Warm welcome to you listening, and thank you for your interest in this topic. Today, we're going to be discussing with you what we hope to be some practical ideas and suggestions, best practices that Hugo is kindly going to share with us, and that are going to empower you, inform you on not just themes like conversion ratios, but also we're going to touch upon managing your teams, shaping your sales teams, especially in digitally in the virtual world that we're now living in, being forced to adopt. But also look into areas such as your sales strategy and how it needs to pivot, and how we'll see a practical example here and how it's pivoting to adapt to the new normal, whether you're in an industry where you are facing new great opportunities, or you are in an industry where you have to protect and defend against new threats. So Hugo, let me just start with you. Tell us a little bit about the company that you work for, the great OutSystems, why it is such an important and impacting company in its space, in its industry, what OutSystems, how OutSystems has come to shake this industry, and then tell us a little bit about you, your role, and the main responsibilities that you have.
Welcome everyone, and thank you, Helga, for the invitation. It's always a pleasure to have these conversations with you. So to answer your question, who is OutSystems? So OutSystems is a company that has a platform that helps companies to develop the applications that they need at an incredible speed, with virtually no walls in terms of the development that they want to do, either by the types of technologies that they have or the types of applications that they want to develop. And we are leaders in our space, a company that has been growing since its creation in 2001. And continue to grow even though we are going through this pandemic, always with the goal to serve our customers to the best ability, our best possible way, and reach to and give them the ability, like I said, to build those applications that they need to build in order to continue to develop their business, which is fundamental these days, because the applications that they run and they use are somewhere synced to the success as they have as a company, either internal applications or external applications, customer facing or not. I didn't start it as a salesperson. I studied computer science, and then I made the transition to go to sales. Someone challenged me. I said no. They challenged me again. I accepted, and it's something that I fell in love with. Honestly, sales was the first time that I felt like this makes sense. I can do this for a living. I enjoy it. Every single day is a bright new day.
And let's dive down into some more specificity. What's been propelled by the events of the last 2 years? What's been your priorities?
Currently at OutSystems, I'm the RVP of SMB at OutSystems for EMEA. So that's a very large territory with a lot of potential customers. My focus with the pandemic didn't change so much on the business perspective. It changed more towards the people perspective. So there's two things that happened immediately after the pandemic hit us. There was a lot of, we don't know how long this is going to last. And there were a lot of companies that didn't know exactly what to do. Should we invest? Should we not invest? And this is not just towards OutSystems. This is basically what happened, I believe, to most of the market. Companies pretty much detected, and rightly so, that they need to go through digital channels in order to continue to do business. And that's a perfect fit for OutSystems, because we can actually help the companies with that. As a leader, so the focus on strategy and doing business and all those things didn't change that much, in the sense that we only needed to adapt that. We knew that there was a hiatus for a few months of no decisions, but then the market would come back strong, and it did. As a leader, as I was saying, my main focus was we don't see each other. So I don't see my team, they don't see me. Everything is virtual, and virtual does not appease to the senses. So we can have as many Zooms as we want, but it's not the same thing as seeing someone, having a conversation with someone. It doesn't translate the same way. So my focus was, what can I do in order to maintain morale high and people continuously motivated to do their job, because now they don't have to go to work. Just to give you a couple of examples, we had all sorts of things that happen to normal people, right? We had bad news, personal good news, victories and defeats, and all sorts of things that happen in my team's personal life, that you couldn't shake someone's hand or give someone a hug or congratulate them with a high five. Everything had to be done virtually. And what I quickly realized is that the virtual doesn't work, right? So you needed to find different ways to be close to the team and to make them feel that you're still close to them, and so they can operate at 100% efficiency.
How are you finding ways to overcome these challenges?
On a personal level, what we try to do was to create initiatives that would make the team come together. At a point, we had lunches, so virtual lunches, that we would be in front of each other having lunch, but trying to discuss something that had nothing to do with work. We would also have a happy hour on a Friday, so everyone grabs a beer or a glass of wine, and we just unwind for the end of the week. And that's all fun and games, and it's good. But the other thing that we try to do was to put people in teams. So you don't have the feeling, so no one has the feeling that they are alone. So if you now need to do something, so the example is, if you need to do something on your own and you're alone in your house, you cannot leave with the pandemic and all that stuff, then you probably don't feel like doing that thing, and you're gonna postpone it to the max. So if you now are paired with someone and you need to deliver that, you need to work on a couple of ideas or on a couple of things, and you know that you have a meeting at 3:00 with that person, then you start to be more, your personal accountability grows. And also you don't feel alone, which is great.
Another interesting thing is that you've hired as well. You've grown your team. How can you give us some practical ideas on what sales leaders should be looking for to shape up a great sales team?
The Native American Indians, I believe, or Native American, if that's the political correct way to say it, they have this sense of community, meaning that if there's a child in the tribe, it's not the obligation of educating that child is not only from the parents, it's from everyone from the community. Typically, you have a new hire, you meet them, you go to have dinner with them, they get integrated in the team, and a bond starts to be built. With the pandemic, building bonds via the web, it's more difficult. So one of the things that I did was to have the team share a little bit of that responsibility of educating the person towards the culture that we have in the team, culture that we have in the company, and the knowledge that we have. So the idea was, today you will speak about this topic with this person. Now, it works both ways, because that person gets integrated as you kind of rotate that new person into the team. And the other person that is coaching also has skin in the game, because now they have to prepare something, because now you have scheduled that we're going to talk about whatever with that person. So it kind of creates the bonding that we are missing from being face-to-face and sharing all of those things to something that is, well, a little bit more concrete and human, so to say. As to your second question, how do we cope with because we don't see people face-to-face when we're hiring them, and how do we do that? So it didn't change much. It was more of an evolution of what we had, adapting to the virtual. So one of the key things I have whenever I'm interviewing candidates, I typically don't hire anyone, or I don't make them move forward. And I say the same thing to my team. I don't move forward anyone that you don't feel comfortable having a coffee with. So if it's not someone that you can easily have a conversation, because in sales you need to be enthusiastic, high energy and all that, but you also need to be very conversational, right? You cannot be a person that no one wants to talk to. You can learn how to improve that, but if you have the base, a good base on empathy and a good base on communication, that's good. The second thing is just understanding, giving that candidate missions, tiny missions that they need to present in the next meeting, or not even in the next meeting, just you want to clarify something that you perhaps didn't have time during the call about the conversation or the interview that he had with them, and then evaluate them towards what you believe to be in your team the metrics of success. So I'll give you a quick example. If for some reason you need someone, which I would debate that you do at the beginning of their sales career, that they need to be very good at learning quickly, creating a lot of activity to build as much pipeline as they can, you need to understand what are the leading indicators behind that. So is this person able to build campaigns and launch them quickly? Is this person able to do many phone calls a day to schedule meetings with customers? And you try to understand if they have a culture of doing this, if they have done anything in the past that is similar. And when you give them the exercises, how long they take to respond. So, and as an example of that, I typically do during the interview process, I ask them to do something, and I do not give them on purpose a time frame to complete. I just say, do this, and whenever you're ready, come back to me. What I'm trying to evaluate is obviously the outcome is a good result. How good is the answer or the presentation, whatever I asked them to do, and also how quickly. Did it took 2 days? And then if you balance those two things, you can see if this person it's not intelligence, but the sharpness and the speed that this job requires of, you have a problem, you need to present a solution, and you need to do it as fast as possible. If the person then takes 2 days to do a simple task, then you know that's probably not. At least it's a warning sign.
And give us an example of one of the tasks that you might ask them to do.
It could be a simple email of introduction. If I want to evaluate a little bit better their cold calling skills, for instance, to leave me a voicemail, to do a presentation on their current company. So I say, hey, you've been working for this company for 2 years. And you go, yeah. So you probably know how to pitch your company on the spot. Now, it should be easy for them, right? They've been working in this company for the past 2 years. So give me the pitch. You can throw a couple of objections to see how they handle. Instead of going, pitch me, well, in this case, OutSystems, and I'll throw you a couple of objection questions. But that is always going to be an exercise that it's not going to be absolute close to the truth, because you're still learning about my company, right? And sometimes it depends on my mood as well. I asked them a very silly question, like how many basketballs can you put on an airplane? Something like that, just to see, and typically ask those crazy questions if I want to make sure that the person is able to at least come up with a reasonable answer, right? Obviously, I don't know how many basketballs you can put on an airplane, nor I care. What I care is, will you do the effort, and will you have some thought process of going, okay, it's about 2 meters tall, the ball is around 30 centimeters, and you kind of guess the rows, and you say, look, I don't know, but anywhere between whatever and whatever.
I'm going to have to strike out that question out of my list here, because I was going to ask you that one. You mentioned the activity that you ask of your sales reps to execute, to fill up their pipeline. And this is an interesting point to me, because as I understand it, your mindset is very much that each sales rep should be empowered and enabled to be able to creatively come up with these campaigns. So as a sales rep for OutSystems, for your team, you're not just worried about doing a cold call or a cold email. What else can your sales reps do focused on developing pipeline? What are they empowered to do creatively? What can they do? What should they do?
But for me, what it means is that they are maybe starting their sales career. Maybe they have a little bit of experience. My goal towards them, and where I try to position myself, is in order for me to help you reach success, is for you to be able to be the best salesperson that you can be.